mean, it must be quite hard to, keep secret if there is work to talk about. I mean, can that be challenging?
Um, I think so, but they also, I don't know, I think for GTA 5, I don't think I mean, I knew it was Rockstar, but they're very secretive about it, even
Yeah.
when you're working on it. Like, I did not, I don't think that anything could have prepared me for the explosion that was GTA 5. I think it
Mm.
was, I don't know. I mean, it's not also my world. I mean, I don't know. I grew up playing like, you know, I don't know. It's just not video games, but not like I didn't know that it could be this big.
Mm.
And so I certainly didn't think I would be a part of something that would still have such resonance like a decade later.
Yeah, yeah.
I get almost daily messages from people like, like just sort of championing Tracy, and that's wild to me that it
Mm.
has, maybe forever we'll have an audience. I don't know. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
it's cool that it has this life outside of myself.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're, not too weird, the messages, and you don't get too much harassment.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I know how to use the block button if I need to.
Mm. Yeah, that's
But
true. Yeah. Yeah.
no, most people are respectful, and if they're not, then they're gone.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
I think it's just, I don't know, the nature of as you're become a more known entity, there's going to be, not everyone, not
Mm.
as we know, not everyone on the internet is nice.
Mm. No, of course. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, going way back to, when the game was released, it was like say it was like 10 years ago or more now. Um, can you tell us about your experience when you were bringing Tracy to life into the game? Like, can you tell us a bit more about how it happened and, what went on while filming for Tracy?
Yeah, it was so I shot that over 3 years. So I would get, maybe like, I don't know, 10 pages of dialogue at a time, in like a 2 week chunk, I would say, over the course, and then, go away for a number of months and then come back and get more. So I guess you could liken it to being on like a TV show or something like that, where you don't have all the information. You're kind of learning. I was learning as I went, sort of piecing her together. But I think I mean, I decided very early on that she had that voice. I kind of like,
Mm.
I think I brought this to the audition, I'm pretty sure. And if I didn't, I definitely had it by day one of the shoot. And I actually at one towards the end of production, some of her stuff was so annoying. Like my sort of vocal range was too much, and so
Yeah.
I had to re-record a number of lines like in a lower register because the feedback was like you've done too good of a job. She's so
Yeah.
annoying. Can you just make her a little less toxic to the ears? You know?
How did you feel taking on that advice? Like, did you feel like, pushed aside a bit, or were you happy that
No,
they
I mean,
told you?
if it's very dangerous to liken yourself to the characters you play. I mean, to me,
Mm.
that's the fun of acting is that you get to be someone else, and you get to be. I mean, the I don't the she definitely lives in me. Like
Mm.
I can bring her out at any point.
Mm.
Like I will say things as her that I would never say in real life.
Yeah.
But they're coming out of my mouth, so I'm like the vessel.
Mm.
Um. But I don't, yeah, no, I totally understand it. I think she is annoying. She's very annoying.
Mm.
She's not the best person. I mean, but who is on in Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all despicable people,
Yeah. They all
But
have love-hate fans, don't they? They all have a bit of both.
yeah, but I think that's maybe why it resonated so much because it was so irreverent and so extreme that it felt I don't know, it was audacious, right? So
Mm.
people really just were, and it was speaking to something that is really like America,
Mm.
So it was, or not even just America, because I mean, Rockstar's a British company or a Scottish company, I want to say. It's a UK company anyway. And,
Mm.
it certainly has global appeal, but it's so American,
Yeah.
so rooted in, you know, the valley. Like GTA 5 is like, you know, Los Santos is like
Yeah,
it's basically LA, like deep
yeah.
in the valley, you know.
Would you say it's quite accurate, the game, compared to the real life? You
They
think
did
it's
an
quite,
incredible
yeah.
job of, I mean, I lived in LA for a decade and I was bi-coastal for like a decade between LA and New York.
Mm,
And yeah, it's I mean the like the Venice canals, like I mean, you know, so many things are like spot on.
mm,
They really, all the designers did an incredible job of building that
mm,
world to really be like an alternate version of Los
yeah,
Angeles, I think. Yeah.
yeah. Going back to when you said it took 3 years to, do the script, and how long did it take you to sort of find her voice? Was it quite quick, to find Tracy's voice, or was it? Because I mean, you obviously have to put a bit of enthusiasm into her, don't you? Um,
I mean, I'm sure that my sort of confidence in her grew as it went. It was
mm,
also the experience of I didn't really know what she was going to look like when we started. So, the technology was actually advancing as because Rockstar was like really at the cutting edge of the technology.
mm,
And so the I was watching the technology advance as we did it. So when we
mm,
started, I actually had like I want to say that maybe I had like the pins on my face when I first started doing it, and then like shortly into it, we had the helmet caps with
yeah,
the with the little pinhole cameras, and um eventually on the screen, like you could see at first you could see like these really like weird stick figures that were like your doppelganger of everything you did, all your movement. So you could see your movement up on a big screen. But
mm,
then eventually that screen looked like me after the animators kind of filled it in. And it was almost like the job of like making a cartoon, but it's based on
mm,
me. I mean, there's a reason that she looks like I don't think she quite looks like me, but she looks enough like me,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They all do. They all look enough like us because the animators based those performances on our face performances. So they were literally digitizing my that's why it's like it's people are always like, "Oh, it's so cool that you did the voiceover for that." I'm like, "Well, it's actually way more complicated than that because you're shooting on a soundstage kind of like green screen, but you're using like Apple boxes and whatnot. I mean, I feel like it's like a combination of doing like theater, like a soap opera, and like an action movie,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
That's cool.
all
Yeah,
these different things kind of colliding. And you're not like I don't know, you're stepping into a car that's like you're stepping on Apple boxes to get into the car. And
yeah,
they're kind of like making the structure to be whatever the thing is swim like you're wearing what's basically like a wetsuit. You're wearing a wetsuit
mm,
with balls all over it, and the balls corns there's like 36 cameras that are shooting you in, more than 3D, like in 36 form, catching all your movement. So
mm,
before you go into the room, you have to do these series of yoga positions to for them to model like the way that you do these same
mm.
movements. Every actor does that before they go on go into the soundstage so it maps the way they move. Um, yeah, things like that were, very
I was wondering
different.
how challenging it must have been for you because your character was quite energetic, even with moving around within the game. Like you were doing a lot of things within. Do you know what I mean? Like even with the famous shame, and like you were doing a lot of interesting cutscenes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It is. Yeah, we made up that dance,
yeah.
like Rod, the director, and I, kind of came up with that dance.
Okay.
Luckily, it didn't have to be good because I'm actually a terrible dancer in real life. Like I can groove if it's like if I don't have to be required to do like a
Mm,
steps, but if you want to, I will never be. I always joke that I won't be on Broadway unless I'm already famous because like I have two left feet. Like there's just so I was very grateful that she's not a talent, she doesn't really have
mm,
talent because if we had to do a dance that was like, wow, that dance was amazing, I would have been in trouble. I
mm.
can make a dance funny,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not a problem.
So was that all your input then? Like, did you? come up with the whole thing for that scene, for them scenes with the
I
dancing?
mean, no, it was definitely scripted, but there is definitely room to play. There's definitely an improv quality. You could add little
Mm,
buttons, like sometimes at the end of a scene or we all definitely added dialogue and sort of, I don't know, you get into the groove of it and you definitely are adding things. But there's definitely a structure too that's in place.
mm.
But it was nice that they did let us play.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging or weird thing for motion capture though? Did you ever have to do anything a bit weird, out of the ordinary?
Um, I mean, I think the whole boat chase, like the sort of chase on the like through the canals was a little crazy. I mean, you're like ducking imaginary bullets and like I don't know, we're literally just in one space going like this, and we're having to mock, like we're on the vehicle. And then you're like ducking, being shot at and yelling and I mean, it's not that weird, but it's I've never done anything like that in real life.
Mm,
I mean there are a lot of odd things like that, I suppose, but nothing stands out as extraordinarily weird. I mean, the whole like the fact that she was hanging out on a boat with like porn producers is definitely like that. I didn't know that going in. That was
yeah,
problematic to
yeah.
me.
Do you think?
But it also fit her. She's just so desperate for attention.
Mm,
Um, I really question whether like in real life if Tracy like I mean, what kind of train wreck is she now?
mm,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
she wasn't on a good path,
Mm. What choices would you have liked to have made for her? Going back.
Like if I could rewrite
Yeah,
Tracy and
yeah,
girl.
yeah.
I don't know.
Mm,
I've never even thought about that. I mean, it's I also really try not to in my own life, I really work to be an acceptance of what is. So there was never a point where I was looking at her and being like, I wish she was like this. It's more like the joy of acting is like, oh, wow, that's what's happening. Okay, let me figure that out. How and why does this happen? What's behind that? Who is this person? Why are they making those choices? It's not questioning the choices, it's figuring out how and why they made the choices.
no, of
Does that make
course.
sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Are there any misconceptions about your role or the game that you would like to clear up with anyone? Because I'm sure you get a lot of judgmental people, criticizing stuff and yeah.
I don't really get a lot of judgmental people. I mean, I'm sure that I could go down a deep dive of like, reading in chat rooms or I don't even know, like I'm not a big gamer myself. Like I played the game, but I haven't I mean, I've only played the game a couple times,
Yeah.
which is like probably a blasphemous thing to say. I mean, not that I wouldn't, if I like, I think it'd be really fun to play with someone but I'm also not that good at it. It's not easy to do,
Mm,
it's actually kind of hard to do the game and be
mm.
good at it.
So
So
did you say you played GTA or not yet? Have
I've
you?
played it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've played it, but only a couple times,
Mm,
and it's sort of like a novelty. And it was, it's I don't know, it's very aggressive.
yeah.
It's definitely very different than who I am as a person.
Mm.
So it's not my world, but what was the original question?
It was, are there any misconceptions about your
Oh,
role? Yeah, or the
um,
game that you'd like to
I
clear
guess
up?
I don't know what the controversy or what people are saying is. I try not to spend too much time kind of it does not benefit me to look at like the haters online, so
Mm,
if they exist, it's not I can't control that, I can't change it, and it's that's a waste of my energy.
mm,
So maybe you could tell me some of the misconceptions and I could tell you how I feel about them, but I don't
mm.
really even entirely know what they are.
I think it's just the normal family dynamic stuff, and the relationship with your brother and your dad, and
Oh, that
in the
it's
game,
like
and
I don't know,
yeah,
like she's got daddy issues. We know
yeah,
this, right? Like, is it like they take it really far that it's like
mm,
really like bad? Is that what they
yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah. They're trying to.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I mean, that's certainly not how, but I mean, her dad is he's a killer. He's a bad person. He's not a good, I mean, he's not a good person. So I'm sure I definitely think she's endured some abuse, probably mostly verbal abuse and just like possible, some
A lot of
neglect.
verbal, a lot of
Yeah,
verbal.
yeah, verbal yelling, whatnot. But I do think, I mean, strangely, I do think there is love in that family, like, and that's
Mm,
also why I feel like these characters are still endure because it's like the complication of every family, right? Like
mm,
most of us have dysfunction in our families. I mean,
yeah,
like somewhere I don't know anyone that has a perfect family. And
no,
so I think it's the fact that there is so much dysfunction in that family, but it is still clear that there's love there. And I think that's like the line that it rides that makes it compelling. Because
mm,
I think whenever you're watching something, if there's not love in a story on some level, we lose interest. We're just not like that interested because it becomes very, I don't know, that's what moves us, right? That's
mm,
that's like it's what every commercial comes down to. So I think I don't know, it endures for because there is something more there than just like a dysfunctional family.
mm. But how do you feel it was really like, living with Michael? Do you think he was trying to control you or protect you? Protect you.
I think he was trying to protect her, but I think that when you have an unruly teenage daughter and you're also a criminal, that you're gonna end up using control as a method for protection
Mm,
because he doesn't have the tools and she's too young to really and hasn't been nurtured enough to be able to self, you know, regulate. I mean, she needs to be controlled to a certain extent because she's still like she's putting herself in really bad situations. So I mean, it's great. Like he does care. Like, he really
yeah.
does care about her. I think it's sometimes misguided, but I think like it's all, it's all a big fat mess. So
Mm. No, of course. Do you still hate your dad now, or are things sorted out?
uh Tracy now in her like mid or her late 20s,
Yeah,
like is that like what we're talking about? Like if
yeah,
if
yeah. If
16
if if the
when this
story
was
was
made,
still
who
going,
is she
yeah.
when she's 27? Um I think she probably does talk to her dad, but I think that she probably um she fights with him a lot, but I think she really needs his affection and love, I think she needs to feel connected to him,
Mm,
um but she probably knows a lot more than she did back when she was a teenager about who he is. And I mean, is he even alive? Like, is
yeah.
he, I
The
mean,
world that he's currently in.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, he's operating on such a destructive path. I question whether is he in
Mm,
jail or is he like, or has he had like a recovery where he's, turned a new leaf and I mean, you can't go on that path for so long, something happens. You're going to it just doesn't work that way, in real life.
mm,
Usually that you get to be like the full-on career criminal at that level where he's, I mean, those characters have like death wishes, I think.
yeah. No, of course.
So
I like that answer. That's a good elaboration, actually. Yeah. Um, you're good with your ideas. I'll tell you
thank you.
that.
I'm a writer,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No, of course. Um, I feel like I could write a game out of this podcast. um, but no. Do you think you'd survive a day in the criminal world, underworld, like your dad, as
no.
Tracy?
Oh, is Tracy? I mean, Tracy's got some moxie. A day, a week, I don't know. A day, sure. She's scrappy enough to get out of anything once, um, but not, but maybe just a day.
Mm, of course.
Yeah.
Have you seen the GTA 6 trailer?
Yeah.
What's your views on it at the moment?
It looks fun.
Mm, yeah. No, sure.
What are your views?
No, it's very exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a few things everyone's speculating at the moment. that you're the character that's on the balcony, the blonde girl that dances on the balcony by the pool.
Okay.
Is there anything you can confirm?
It's nothing I can confirm.
Okay, they're just saying it looks a lot like you. I mean, the way that it's been put in there with, you know, she still looks like she kind of looks like Tracy from GTA 5. Um, yeah.